blurriness.
Hey guys.
Oh, look who's here.
I wanted to tell you this because it's about the podcast.
What happened?
But last night I had a dream that I was interviewing Quentin. I don't know why I'm nervous saying this.
What?
I was interviewing Tarantino for the pod.
On the pod?
For the pod. But for some reason, like, you weren't there, and it was just me, and I was like, I'm gonna fumble this so hard. Like, I'm not asking the proper film questions that I should be, that Aaron would be asking.
What'd you
Why
ask
wasn't Aaron in charge of this interview? I asked him about his love life.
Of course. Well,
I was like, how did you meet?
That.
He's married, right?
Yeah.
I was like, how did you meet your wife? How did you know she was the one? Like, I was asking him those questions, but you know when you're having a dream and you can't really like speak or move,
right? And
you feel like an idiot, but you don't know how to stop it.
Yeah.
Kind of like real life sometimes.
Does that happen to you in real life? For me, it'll be like I'm trying to run. Maybe like I'm running and I cannot run at full. I'm running at like 60% speed. I know I can run 40% faster.
See, for me, it's usually dancing, and I can't move my body while I'm dancing.
Sure.
Like in a ballet piece.
Right.
Or it's that I'm acting and I can't remember any of my lines.
Yeah, that's a classic. Or it'll be like you got the show to do that you did like 5 years ago.
But I guess that's a good sign that I really do care about podcasting, because I've never had a podcasting nightmare
now you had
before.
A podcast. Oh, Jesus.
I had a full podcasting nightmare with Tarantino. And you guys, you know, my one day plan for this podcast is that...
Is what?
Is to bring on successful people or people on the rise and ask them their struggle points in their career.
Right, about those first like 5 years.
And about like all, like, just the things that you don't think to ask. I do think that people ask about, like, you know, in interviews, they're like, well, you were living out of your car before you miraculously booked.
Right.
And then,
but it's like romanticized up to the point of them book. I don't care about that book, baby. Give me the time.
No, give me how you stayed in it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. That's why we have this podcast. So if you guys have any guests that you want us to bring on, let us know, and I'll remember in the future.
Yeah, we'll try to give that a go. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I think I'd be down for that.
I think I would be too.
Yeah,
we just have to get a bigger setup where we're not all squished in a couch.
Yeah, we'd need bigger space.
Yeah.
We'd need a multicam.
We'd need a multicam.
We need 1, 2, 3.
You think 3?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, just for us, we would need 3, bro.
Just the two of us?
If we want to do multicam for us, we would need 3 cameras.
Oh my God.
Because you need one on us, one on you, and then a wide to cut to.
Do you think that we gotta start doing that?
No, I think that would be crazy. Remember we tried that with Igor?
It looked so bad.
Yeah.
Why were we talking about Igor?
Because we were talking about the strike.
Like the monster?
And Igor's been a bad boy.
Oh.
No, you called him Bob Igor.
Iger?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the boy.
If you want us to have Bob Iger on, I'll pull some strings at the Pilates studio. And just kidding, he doesn't go to Pilates.
He would.
He would be like one of those men that go to Pilates just to be around women.
Oh, yeah. Those men definitely hate the unions.
They do.
For sure, anti-union boys go to Pilates to be with the women.
Anti-union boys go to Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
That is so accurate.
Certainly true.
Wait, so what was the celebrity tea that you wanted to catch me up on?
Oh, no, just like freaking... Well, I feel like last 2 weeks... Well, Super Bowl got announced, and I think K-Dot just got his freaking victory lap that he got chosen instead of freaking Tunechi. Because they didn't pick Tunechi. You were saying, though, that people were mad it wasn't like Miley? Did people want Miley, or who do they want? Because all I heard was people wanted Tunechi, Lil Tunechi.
I don't know who that is.
Lil Wayne.
Why do they call him Tunechi?
His grandma used to call him Tune, and then he mixed it with Gucci, so he brands himself as a Lil Tunechi.
Is that real?
That's literally his Instagram handle.
That sounds like a different word for vagina.
Like
that
coochie,
sounds like, a little panochita, or
yeah,
what do you say? What's your pun?
A little coochie.
No, what do Hawaiians say?
What? What do Hawaiians call pussy?
Yeah, they say something different.
Like
I think
I don't know.
Does Nicki Minaj say it or something? No, punani.
Punani. Yes.
You knew
Damn
that.
it. I fucked up.
You knew that.
I apologize.
Yeah,
Yes,
have you ever
punani.
used that in like a casual setting or in a not so casual setting?
Punani. I've definitely heard it. You hear it being flown around.
And when you hear it being flown around, are you like? Because I feel like when someone uses the
It's definitely almost
POSSY word,
always used in a joking manner.
it really grosses me out. Like I just don't like that word at all.
It's definitely always used in a joking manner.
It is. It's not used in a serious manner.
I've never heard it in that manner before.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Um.
But what a pull from Sofia. Oh my god. No, yeah, he calls him a little Tunechi though. People want Tunechi because he's from New Orleans.
Wait, what's his name again?
Lil Wayne.
Okay. I know Lil Wayne. I don't know Lil Tunechi.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I heard about that too.
Well, he wanted it like really bad. He had
But
been
is he friends with Drake or something?
Drake like quote unquote loves Tunechi.
Oh.
Well, there was beef because
like love is like romantic involvement there?
No.
Oh.
Just like
We're
they're
not
friends.
making allegations.
They're friends.
Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely friends. I mean, Drake has literally a tattoo of Wayne on his
What?
arm. Yeah.
And you don't think that's romantic?
He made love to Wayne's girl when Wayne was in jail.
He said that?
No, Drake did that.
Why? Because he was trying to like take care of her while he was gone?
It was I think it was a betrayal, perhaps. Lil Wayne doesn't. I don't think he cares. He said in an interview he doesn't care. But
that's really. I don't know about that.
I'm just saying what was said. I'm literally just saying what was said. That's just all intermingled with all the beef going on. But Tunechi wanted it really bad, and they didn't give it to Tunechi because it's his hometown. So everyone was like, "Oh, it's obviously gonna be Lil Wayne," because he's like. I feel like the Super Bowl anyway has been like people generally who's like almost on the, which I don't think it should be this way, but like it's like people who have almost passed the peak of their career, you know, who have a lot under their belt but have passed the peak.
I actually think that it should be that way. Most of the time.
I feel like the best one in our lifetime has been like Bruno.
But like, look at the people.
Bruno was peaking. Bruno was peaked. He's just like, Bruno's what a class act.
He's a great performer.
Oh yeah, he was amazing.
But
doing the splits, getting the kids
up
there.
Do think that I don't know. I think that the people who watch, well, everyone watches the Super Bowl, but I think it's mostly like 40 and 50-year-olds.
That's true. That's definitely target audience.
Right? So they're going to pick people who are quote unquote past their peak, but that was
their
prime.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but anyways, sorry. He's here, dude. His energy.
Tunechi or K-Dog?
K-Dog.
I don't like it that you're calling him that either. It's just, do people call him that, K-Dot?
Yeah. Where have you freaking been, girl?
People call him K-Dot.
K-Dot, yeah.
I just think that's crazy.
Why is that crazy?
I don't know. Like K-Dot? Like K period?
K-Dot. D-O-T. K-D-O-T. Anyway. Look, you guys. Well, what was the fucking question again?
No, I just asked why you think it's monumental.
I mean, because he had like the craziest summer of all time.
Okay, I get it. It should be self-explanatory. Why are we even talking about it? I should know. I do think it's monumental. I think we think it's monumental for different reasons, though.
Why do you think it's monumental?
Because I think that it shows that celebrity is falling.
Yeah, exactly. And
wait,
I
so
feel
you
like
think that too?
Yes, I think he's trying to.
So we're on the same page.
Yes, I think we're on the same page. That's why I was confused.
Let's not get upset at me right now.
I'm not mad at you,
You're
bro.
being naughty.
I'm literally not trying to be naughty. I'm not upset. I'm saying I think it's a monumental thing for. I would have appreciated if you just hopped on the train that I was going on.
Look,
I felt like you were questioning my motivation.
I was hopping on the train, Aaron, but
I just appreciated instead of all of this for you to just be like, hey, yes, it's a big thing because
that's just how I sound when I try to ask questions, and that's why I shouldn't be interviewing Tarantino. At the end of the day, it should be you. Everyone would get heated if I was speaking to them. That's their response to me. I was just asking you questions.
Okay.
I was trying to get you to speak more because I was really interested in you like going on this whole journey.
Right.
And you just constantly are hearing that nothing is being made and there's no money being put into entertainment. And so that the only things that are going really big right now, and obviously this is a different side of entertainment. It's not music, it's television, film. And the only things that are really popping off right now are either things with a huge name behind them.
Right.
Or they're things that are like a Marvel. Or something like that.
Sure.
And like that independent films aren't really getting any sort of buzz, and kind of like mid-level stuff isn't getting any buzz. And I think and a lot of people are saying, you know, okay, well, it'll come back in 2026. And I just think that is very terrifying to hear. And in one way, we have like a lot of agency, because it's like we do have social media, we do have like YouTube,
right?
We do have ways of making our own stuff. It's more accessible, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But then it's also harder to get money to fund projects, and I think that actors are also kind of being taken less seriously because, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just something that I'm struggling with a lot, because we're in the middle, living in LA and watching people come in who are working in the industry constantly, and saying that they've never seen anything like this and that the industry is falling apart is just a really scary thing to be hearing.
Look,
all the time.
I think they're acclimated to the maybe the way things used to be, but it's like they're in the middle of a quote unquote industry. Like they're in that industry in the same way like bankers were in that industry in 2008. I'm not comparing it to that, obviously, but in the sense it's like they were actually like the level of like bankers on Wall Street, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously they're being impacted because the industry is changing, and they are like literally having working jobs in the industry. The one difference being a lot of the times in entertainment, like it's not like, oh, finally I got this gig. I'm good for 5 and 10 years of job security, right? That is almost never the case. You have a job for like 2-3 months at a time. The difference being like, oh, there's always going to be another job, or like I know someone who works here that I can just, you know, do some work for, or, you know, something along those lines. And I think that there is a lot less money being put in like in terms of like deal flow. People expected like post strike there to be a lot of new projects being picked up, but
post strike.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm like, I don't have any listed sources, so you can believe me or you can just think that I'm full of crap, which is probably true. But I heard that what was happening was that Netflix was buying all of these projects at once, and so a lot of foreign companies were also buying a ton of projects. And then after the strike, I think this might have happened even before the strike, Netflix stopped buying things. And so then everyone else stopped buying things, and now there's no money going into things at all. And I'm wondering, like, was it kind of like where everyone was buying things at once?
Right. I think so. I think that, yeah, people were purchasing a lot of content, almost more content than they knew what to do with. So there's just, I think, and then with the pandemic, I think there's just probably a lot of backlog material to a certain degree too.
Yeah.
So, and you know, putting a lot of money into a project, getting a name, like the cost from a studio perspective is a lot, and they notice that like a lot of people just consume reality TV anyway, which is like a lot cheaper to produce.
Yeah.
So there's like a ton of bullshit reality TV, but I don't know. I think that
there is a ton of reality TV.
Yeah, it's all like CW is just a reality channel now. Like, they don't
but I
even
also think like reality TV stars, where it used to be like there used to be no crossover, right? It used to be like you're on reality TV, you're stuck on reality TV. You'll do that one show, and that's all you'll ever be known for.
Right.
And maybe it's creating more opportunities for other people, but it's also, I think, tricky to navigate as an actor because it feels like the lines are blurred.
Well, now it's like your entire brand is not constrained to like one particular medium, right? You can now, in weird ways, like kind of branch out to other things.
Well, yeah, it's like you do a reality TV show, you become
like
viral for
Roger Deakins has a podcast with his wife. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there are, if you are good at what you do, you can take your brand with you which honestly, I know that makes you nervous. That's something that I prefer, you know. Whereas if there's a world where if we had this podcast, there is nothing else we could do with our lives, right?
Yeah,
because we are branded as podcasters. We are that is
all.
That
is sometimes how I am made to feel, that this is all we can do.
Well, I mean,
or like be careful what you put out there, because that's the image. Because there is a way of like,
the only people that are going to watch this are people that are interested in us. No one else is going to watch this, you know? Like, people aren't going to watch this to be like, oh, you know, I mean, like, obviously people get really annoying and stupid about like people getting canceled. That happens to a handful of people who like.
And honestly, like I don't think people really get canceled. And honestly, in kind of like cancel culture, I think it bothers me because I think you have a lot of like I don't know.
Yeah,
you have a lot of people who do a lot of terrible things and they get canceled for a month or two and then they're back making money.
Chilling.
Like I don't think that cancel culture is real. I don't.
Yeah, and look, I think maybe in a particular time it was more prevalent. But I don't know. Like,
but like
I don't care.
I don't know.
I really don't care.
I think that sometimes we cancel the. I don't know.
The right people.
We don't cancel the right people.
Don't. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Though maybe K Dot is changing that.
Yeah, maybe she's changing the game. But I'll say, I think that we're now because there's just so. What are you doing?
What?
You're just making this face. Because there are so many different circles in terms of there's too much stuff to consume. It's no longer where it's like, oh, there's this many good movies. You know, there's 5 good movies a year that are like on the Oscar circuit, and that's how you're gonna watch your movies. You know, like that's gonna die because there's just too much stuff out there for people to keep track of. I think the way it's gonna turn into is like it's gonna be like what the studios represent now, what media productions exist at now. You're gonna have microcosms of that. So you're gonna have like, okay, Sofia and Aaron, you know, maybe like 50 people enjoy watching our show. So maybe they'd enjoy watching us do like semi-related things or like making our own, you know, shows or that sort of thing, you know, or on a different scale, like you're really interested in these people and you're really interested in like the stuff that they make. Like, I think that people and their own brands will sort of begin to exist as like their own kind of channels of content.
And that makes you feel good.
I think it means that we as
you think it gives people more agency?
We have more power and agency with the stuff that we make. We can make those things. We don't have to worry about having to appeal towards a certain audience or cater to like masses of people, because the people who are interested will watch if people are interested. Obviously, you're still going to have that market of, you know, the general masses, but you're seeing like really edgy stand-up comedians who are kind of more like 10 years ago would certainly not have their own shows, who like have like podcasts where they say really edgy shit, and like they are now getting their own Netflix shows that they've independently produced, like sold to them. Do you know what I mean? So like you're still gonna have these moments where you can like push things into I think more general markets, but I think for the most part you're gonna have like things more sectioned off.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it's going to generally give you more agency because there is a finite amount of opportunity in that general world that exists, right? Like the general market of auditioning and like TV and this quote unquote industry, there is a finite amount of space there. It's not infinite. It's finite. There's only a certain number of spots there.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes me feel better about this is an expanded market, and you can insert yourself into a certain place. But don't you think it's
overwhelming as a consumer? Like, I just feel like my mind is always blank and I'm not even consuming quality content anymore.
Right. I think in terms of like the general market, like the stuff.
Like, I feel like TV shows, movies, like everything is lower quality now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think like.
And you were even saying that. Like, you were even saying when we were watching.
The one where they dance. What's that?
No, Network.
Oh, Network, sure.
We were watching Network, which is honestly the most Aaron shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, if you want to understand Aaron's brain, just watch like Network or anything written by like Aaron Sorkin. Yeah, you kind of remind me of him. When you went into that church barefoot.
Oh yeah.
That like really gave Howard energy. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
They would take me out like that too.
They would. I'd be there for you though. I'd fight for you.
If they tried to take me out.
You don't think I would?
I think you'd be like, kill him now. Like
her. You think I would kill you?
I think you'd be Faye.
That's such a compliment.
I think
She was
I think
so
you'd be
soulless.
very quick to kill me in that moment.
Do you really?
What do you think?
Um,
I think you would push me in the sense like, oh,
I unfortunately
you would be like, give him the Howard Beale show, give Aaron the show, but then the ratings tank, and then they're like,
see, but okay, when I watched
would make
Network,
my
I was
Plan
like,
Death a
this is
thing.
what we're becoming. They predicted the future.
right.
Like Network is what we are now, which is just like a silly show. I actually, okay, I think the beginning of influencers, like when people were going viral on YouTube and Vine and all that stuff, I think that was more like Network, where it was just like do as many ridiculous things as you possibly can to
Right.
get views, which I think that people still definitely do.
And I think with Network, it was more like also just, can we be honest for once? We have so many barriers in the way
But
that
it turned
we
into a
speak.
gimmick.
Yeah, at the end. In the end, he turns out to be nothing more than what he had been complaining about in the beginning, where he's trying to spiel about politics and the media as like very controlled things that we should reject. But he is also this product of the media too, that is being very carefully curated.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting movie in that sense, and I think you're right. I think you're correct.
I don't
I think
know.
we should stick our heads out the window
And scream.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what I was saying with Network though.
You'd kill me if you had the chance.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't kill you. Because I think I wish it could be like Faye Dunaway in that movie where she is just kind of robotic and
Right.
only focused on her career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like make the joke.
You're more like the old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
I'm
Who
definitely
has the affairs?
Yeah, I'm the
with his
old man
wife.
who has an affair. And then like if I had
tries to be like her.
but like if I had an affair, because that scene when he had the affair, that was
Right.
heartbreaking. And he goes to his wife and
it's
he's
a great
like
scene. It makes me laugh so hard.
it's
though.
no, it's hilarious and sad at the same
Yeah.
time. But he's like, "Hey, I'm having an affair,
He's like,
and I'm probably gonna end up coming back to you. But just so you know."
he like just has no agency over his life.
Yeah, but neither does the wife. Like, holy shit, it's way harder on her.
No, of course, no. I mean, like he's just like he's like, look, just fucking.
You think I'm
Faye."
like that? You
No,
think if I had an
no.
affair, I wouldn't have a choice in it?
What do you mean?
If I had an affair, I'd be choosing to have an affair. I wouldn't just.
No, of course, no. I just feel like he's just,
You're like him.
You think
More
I'm
than
like
me.
him?
Because I think if you had an affair, if you had an
And you're the
affair, I
wife.
think you'd sit me down and you'd be like, and I'd scream like that. If you told me you were having an affair, I think
That's
I'd
pretty scream-worthy.
I'd
That's pretty
scream
upsetting.
and then I would accept it and then I would let you go. I don't know if you'd be able to come back. And we don't
Yeah.
know if he came back to her.
We don't know. We do not know. He said he would try.
Damn.
He made Mama pretty mad though.
Yeah,
Mama
he
got
did.
pretty mad.
I don't like that. That you're
mommy-
calling her
that
mama.
mommy got mad.
Don't say that, please. It's so repulsive.
Um,
No, I forget what I was saying about.
Well,
No,
yeah.
you were obsessed with Network. This is what I was saying. That for you, when we watched it,
Yes.
you kind of went into this like dark little hole in your mind because it's a depressing movie, and I was in that dark little hole as well. It really
Sure.
bummed me out.
Sure.
And Aaron, you were like, I just don't think that people make quality film like that anymore, and I don't think people value that type of writing and acting anymore.
That you just made me sound like
And
the biggest
then-
asshole in the world right now.
So you were being a little bit of a tiny hole. I don't know if it was the ass part.
Tiny hole.
And so I heard that and my heart sank, Aaron. And
Was
I
being
cried
a
that
tiny
night by myself.
Well, I'm just saying
By
by
myself.
yourself. When?
Because I didn't want to speak to you after that, okay?
Okay. I get you.
When you lose hope, I'm gone. I'm jumping off the roof. I'm
Sure.
gone.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm Jane Eyring it, if you will.
No. That wasn't to me being like you're Jane Eyre. Jesus, that wasn't. You're you're Anna Karenaning, but I'm Anna.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that what he said? Was that a line that he said in that movie?
Anna Karenina?
Yeah,
Who?
the old man.
I don't remember.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, I think like at that time, whereas like right now, I think people are, and I've been thinking a lot about this. Where I think right now,
Did you have a moment of doubt
Ah.
and then it sprouted back up as hope?
Yes,
Did you have
yes.
like a little
A little
well?
seed.
The hole went down and then
yeah, put
Pra.
Pra.
So, tell me your thought process. Sometimes I feel like when we pod, like I'm getting insight into your brain that I don't have on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I think that, look, the one thing that people are really interested in and I think are interested in right now, are aesthetic value, right? The aesthetic value in the way something looks. Does it look sexy? Does it look good? Can they make those two hot Menendez brother kids look good on that Netflix show?
Oh my God, that's so... I saw the commercial for that and I couldn't watch it. It's so sickening.
I thought it was like they were making like a Boogie Nights like part 2 or something when I first saw the photo
Oh,
of
it's
those.
so terrible.
They oiled
it's
them
so
up.
Terrible.
Anyway, so we're in that era of making things where it's like aesthetic value. Does it look good?
Making things sexy that should not be sexualized in any way.
Right. Or just we're only interested in aesthetic value and not about substance in that way. And I don't think that what like industry standards, so if it's like, you know, Paramount is making this thing, I don't think they're a good indicator of quality, because I think a lot of the things now are looking pretty shitty. For a while, like we had like really good aesthetic value, and I think you look at like, you know, I saw the trailer for like Mean Girls and it looks like total crap, you know, because
Well, there's probably so much content being made that no one is putting budget into anything.
Well, I think there is budget, but I think that it is so easy now to make something look okay. Whereas before, like if you were shooting on, you know, 35 millimeter, you'd have to really light the hell out of your space. You have to be very, very, very considerate about where you put the camera, about how you... What?
I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm so sorry.
What is funny about this?
Nothing.
You had to be very careful about how many takes you did. It was very expensive. So like the quality of what you're making was generally higher because you had to be a lot more thoughtful about what you were doing.
Yeah.
I think in the digital world, a lot less has been the case in like the last 5 years because cameras are really inexpensive now. You could do infinite takes now, and it doesn't really matter. So I think like on the level of where studios are, it's like, yeah, you know, just put the camera there, put some lights there. We have a studio. You can light whatever you want super easily. There you go. Call it a day and wrap a bow on it. So where I think it started as like aesthetic value. So like, let's make everything beautiful because now we can make things really beautiful pretty easily. We're now in this weird downturn of like, well, now it doesn't even look that good and the story sucks, you know? Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is I think at first, like the kind of roller theme park-esque of like aesthetic value was captivating in the beginning.
Because it was new. Right.
It was new. Like Euphoria season 1 was really popular. Now everyone's sick of it. Because the substantive value is so limited. Like it's all aesthetic. That's the only reason why it's watchable.
And it's turned more into
attractive.
that, I think.
And yeah, then they've gone in that direction. I mean, he did another TV show that like didn't even air all their episodes because it was only focused on aesthetic value and doing the edgelord crazy shit, you know? And I mean, he's a great cinematographer or whatever, but what I'm saying is I think people are starting to reject that. I think you're getting to a point where people are focused only on aesthetic value, where the work is really going down overall. And I think that you're going to see people really starting to reject this.
And do you think that there's going to be...
And I hope that it changes, because I think that the young people were attributing to the badness because independent filmmaking is cheaper than ever. You know, you're getting young people who were not bred into the industry, who are not highly trained filmmakers, who are making movies. And yeah, it's going to suck the first couple of times, you know? So you're going to have a 5 to 10 year period where you're going to have a lot of independent films, and the vast majority are going straight to Tubi, you know, where they're not amazing, they're kind of shitty. But I think a lot of those people are going to develop their own voices and become better filmmakers. And I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see really great movie making. That is my hypothesis.
You really think that, Eric?
Yes. I think that we are in this really dark period where people are just valuing the quickest...
When do you think the dark period is going to end?
I think people are starting to... I mean, look at that Nicole Kidman TV show we were trying to watch. That was the worst piece of shit I have ever seen in my life. And I mean, it's so incredibly crazy that things like that are being mass produced. And look, people can only, I think that is only really watchable for so long.
Yeah.
Where people can essentially just not try.
Which is
that's
crazy.
What it is.
Which
it's not
is
trying.
crazy because you look at that cast. The reason I watched it was for the cast.
Yeah, for sure.
Which,
well, it shows that even they, to a certain extent, are not getting the projects they want.
Yeah. Which scares me because if Nicole Kidman is not getting she probably
and maybe
also.
she liked it.
I mean, she was probably like, okay,
yes,
yes, like I want to go sit on a beach and.
No, I'm sure they had a great time or whatever. But like, I'm seeing like, I saw on Instagram you'll see like a ton of short.
Yeah, like reels.
For like short films or whatever.
Yeah.
There was like this 90s actor who was super famous. I'm totally forgetting his name. Oh, I'm trying to remember what character he was on a TV show, but he was like a super popular like 90s. I'll put his name on or something. But he's like a super popular like 90, or maybe I don't want to dox him like that because it looked like a real piece of shit. What he was.
Let's not dox on this pod.
Yeah. But he was like a famous 90s
and
guy.
no judgment for doing piece of shit work because I would do that in a heartbeat.
But that's the point
if I got my check, I would do it.
Oh my god, no. That's what I'm gonna come around to. But where it's like, super like pretty stacked resume. And it looked like, maybe like a student film that he was maybe kind of a lead role in, and he had like a juicy scene or whatever. It was bad. But like, I was like, that guy's in that? Like, I think to a certain degree, like you're seeing like a lot less general market opportunity. So I think a lot of folks are just hanging out. Like, I'll go to Hollywood Boulders and you'll see actors there. I think folks are just hanging out.
Which I think the reason why that's so terrifying to me, yes, I understand that you can create your own product, your own image, you can kind of build your own career. But I think when I see like established actors who are not working, who have these stacked resumes, who are talented, who are beautiful, and then you look at someone like us who doesn't have any of that.
Right.
Like, it could be refreshing. Okay, you see a new face, but. And I guess the answer is to create your own work, right? Because
people do not, for the last 10 years, people have not really been valuing quality. I mean, I don't want to be a total douchebag, but like even when we were watching Network, like the wife in that movie won an Academy Award. She's in one scene. Like, people were trying.
No, she was amazing.
On the small stuff. You had people actually going hard for things that no one would go hard for. You would never have a main like studio picture where you would have like a one-off scene where you would have like an incredible performance. They wouldn't assign that value in the way that, I think people really want nowadays. I think we're coming back to a point where like people are going to demand quality because the aesthetic, the number one thing I think people that is actually forgivable when you're watching a movie are the aesthetics.
Yeah.
That is the first thing that I will forgive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it was shot on. I don't give a shit. It's like, I mean, how is the movie?
It's the story. How is it affecting you? Like,
right.
The characters, the acting.
I mean, we were watching Swingers. Like, half of it is out of focus. It doesn't matter. And like, you have to turn those bugs, those things that you don't have control over, and you have to like try to make that the value and like the charm of your movie. And I think studios are unable to do that right now because, I mean, you have people investing that probably don't understand art, who honestly probably fucking hate art.
Yeah.
I think Bob Iger hates art.
I'm so scared to put that out there.
I may well bleep the name. But, like, I just think that there hasn't been the same value on movie making that there has been for a long time. But like, look at it this way, in terms of like actual film print, that's making a comeback. People are actually starting to do that again. People are taking film photography that would have never happened 5 years ago. People would have thought you were totally crazy. So I think like people are actually wanting to make good material again. I think people are tired of lazy storytelling or just like a pretty focus shot where you're seeing some action.
Yeah, you're right. I think that you give me reassurance there because I think when I go out into the real world and I hear the conversations that are being had amongst like people who are working in the industry or creatives and all this stuff, the dialogue is mostly negative. I
Sure.
don't hear really any positive things unless
It's
I'm
impossible to be positive from that perspective if you're in the middle of it too. Like I
yeah,
understand
like
why
I guess
they're not
like
positive.
it, it's good that we haven't popped off yet, you guys, because when we do, the industry will be so ready for us.
But I think there's going to be not a revolution, but like a new phase of what is valued in storytelling. I mean, you even saw that in like the 2010s, like narrative in like television was something that became really popular. You know, you had like shows like Mad Men or The Sopranos or like Breaking Bad, that were really focused on like hour-long dramas, and you had that all throughout the early 2010s.
But do you
and
think
that doesn't exist anymore?
But do you think that you've seen a dip? Okay, because obviously you haven't been alive that long, considering. But do you think, since you know a lot about film history and television history, have you seen a dip like this dark, before and then come out of it? Because I don't know if I can refer to a time period that was this dark.
You had like the 70s, you had like the golden age of movies, okay,
In the 70s?
like the 70s, and the 80s movies were shit. Movies were terrible in the 80s. And then you had the 90s, and then you had the independent filmmaking revolution where you had like your Tarantinos, you had your Paul Thomas Andersons, you had, a lot of these independent filmmakers who were young, who wanted to make movies, who really cared about movies, and who were able to make them for cheaper and faster and, in new and exciting ways because the medium was changing. And there were people who refused to adapt.
Yeah.
To different ways of storytelling. You had like the casual 3-act structure. Something happened on page 10, and then like suddenly, Tarantino opens with Royale with cheese, and like filmmaking changed forever. So I think that you had like that 10-year period where there was change happening, societal change happening, and you have people who probably sit at the pinnacle of decision making who refuse to make decisions because to pivot the way you're doing things, I mean, who wants to stop making Marvel? If you're Kevin Feige, why would you make Marvel movies any other way if you're making a gajillion dollars? But the product of that is people are going to get tired of that one day.
Yeah.
People are starting to see Marvel movies less and less. Bringing it around to like Kendrick, he is always going to have his audience. He could call people pedophiles. He can release his music,
But he's gonna have.
He's always
going
to have that audience because he's also evolved. He doesn't cater towards.
Because he's also a good artist. Period.
He's an amazing artist. He doesn't cater towards the masses for what people want. He's confident in himself as an artist. He drops what he wants to drop, and like he's proven that you don't need that industry model in order to be successful.
No.
He has not followed that at all. He drops albums when he wants to drop. He does his music the way he wants. He evolves in a way. Like, I'm sure when he showed, and he created his own label at the end of the day, but if he showed, like, Universal, UMG, like, Mr. Morale, they probably would have freaked the fuck out because it's such a different album. Mm-hmm. But the people who are fans of his, I think really appreciated it.
Who produced his albums? Did he self-produce?
I think by Mr. Morale, he was top dog, so that's his own label.
Okay.
Because Universal is like big and bad and terrible.
Yeah.
They're like steal a lot from artists, but I think that he's like a prime example, and why I think he's such a brilliant artist is because I think that he is a perfect model for what not adhering to like entertainment or industry value. You have a finite amount of time. If you do that, you might blow up for a second, but you only have that 1 second.
Yeah,
and then it's gone, right? So like a really popular like Ice Spice, not to be a podcast that does anything about Ice Spice.
No, but I agree with you. She was like
she was the moment of, and I'm not
and she was clearly someone that the industry was investing in.
Right. Industry was investing in. She was catering towards what, maybe pop culture wanted at that moment instead of, and I have no hate or ill will towards Ice Spice.
Apparently she's a really awful person though.
Oh, right. Well,
Remember that just came out.
right. Yes, that's true. But and then I actually we were kind of talking about this, so I looked it up, and she dropped an album,
Yeah.
and no one ever who was talking about that. Nobody, right? So it's like, you know, adhering to what you know people wanted at a given time. You can't do that.
And you can't adhere to what everyone wants because you're only, as a person living on this earth, you're only going to appeal to a certain number of people.
Yeah.
Like even just
Exactly.
like,
And look, the way I see it are the best inside jokes aren't ones that keep people out. It's the ones that invite people in, you know? So the best work that you're going to do is the most personal work. And that's actually going to be more inviting than if you try to cater towards everybody,
yeah.
you know?
Because then you're just generalizing and people can't relate to you.
Yeah. So I think that work is going to get a lot more, I hope it gets a lot more personal. And I hope this, because it's this very like cookie cutter, make movies a very particular way in order for them to be seen by everybody. That's just the goal, is how many views can you get. And that's how we dignify art, which is, I think that's the antithesis of it. And I think that is not the road for people watching your work, unless you're just trying to make TikTok or whatever. But in terms of like, you can't apply that model to art or movie making. And I think that movie making has become a big commodity because, you know, you have like stuff like Marvel or like the big Spielberg movies and stuff. But I think like for like the average human being, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, and I do think that people are less likely to sit through a 2-hour movie that just want aesthetic value, because you can find that on social media in 5 seconds.
Exactly. So I think I think it's going to move towards people. I think people already want something else.
Yeah.
And I think
we do.
Yeah, I think everyone does. I don't think we're particular in that way. I think that most people want that.
Including Donna, who's having a little nightmare right now.
Oh, you can tell. Yeah, she's moving her whiskers.
Poor thing.
Yeah, shaking a little.
She's on a diet.
She is on a diet. Yeah, we're pulling back the dry foot a bit.
Yeah, she's gained a bit of weight and it comes out of her anal glands. Yep. So we need to keep her safe and healthy.
So she's on better
Her food now has a real chunks of fish in it.
It looks delicious.
It actually does.
Yeah.
It's like so gourmet.
It
she's
gourmet.
having a little fillet of salmon in her little dishes.
She's having like little bits of real chicken.
We've really moved up from the frisky college days, you guys.
Yeah.
We really have. When we were eating McDonald's and she was eating Friskies.
The McDonald's of cat food.
Yeah, I think that, Aaron, you are someone who gives me hope when I'm feeling down. And that's why I'm with you. But honestly, you bring me up, boy. You bring me up.
For sure, dog. You just gotta look on the up. I don't know. I think that chasing the model of what everyone else is doing,
it's exhausting too.
That's exhausting, and that's a lottery ticket. And you have to look at why you want to do it and what exactly you want to do. You want to be an actor and you want to make movies, and that's something we can do. And I think that is a better route than like, you know, chasing like a co-star role on such and such, you know, which I'm sure would be great. And I'm sure
I would kill for a co-star role though. So if you have one,
yeah, reach out,
hit me up,
drop a comment.
No, I think the thing that's appealing to me about those types of opportunities,
sure,
and I'm gonna be real with you, I would, any opportunity that I get to act is really a blessing for me, especially because I haven't had many opportunities since graduating, and I miss it like crazy, and that's genuinely what I love to do. So any opportunity I have to get to act, I am very, very grateful, and I feel my health improving when I'm even acting because I'm just so much happier,
right?
You know, but I think that something like a series regular role or a co-star role or something, like, what it gives me is resume and some sort of financial stability. And to build a career that way, I think it's easier to invest in your own projects.
Yes.
And I do think like we have invested in our own projects, but it's taken a lot of time to get out there. And I think it's harder sometimes it's harder waiting on yourself or on your partner because that stuff isn't coming out.
Sure. Well, I think also, you know, part of it is that learning experience. What I was saying before about like,
you get a built-in following if you're a co-star. You know what I mean?
No, of course. I'm not obviously saying that that's not something to aspire towards. I think that obviously makes perfect sense. But in the way that I was saying before of like where there's a lot of crap out right now, or you see a lot, because those people are learning, we're also learning too on how to do this in a way that's actually conducive towards longevity, as opposed to, which I think happens a lot, is where people will make one movie, it doesn't go the way it goes they thought it would, and they might actually be a good artist, and they give up forever, or they think that they're not good enough and they can't do it.
Yeah.
I think that that's just, you have to push past that as someone who's, I think, potentially serious about making work.
I think what I've realized, though, is like, because I am very serious about making my own work, and I think what I realize is that 90% of it, and I hope that I push past this soon or in the next year, is just like not doing it. 90% of it is not doing it and holding out. And you see actors that are like, work on your craft every single day, and I do take that into account, but at a certain point you're like,
yeah, I don't know what that means.
No, I don't know. I'm just like, yes, I'm auditioning.
Right.
Yes, we're trying to make our own work.
Sure.
Yes, we're doing podcasting.
Sure.
But when I'm doing my day job, or when I'm hanging out with friends even, I feel like this sort of emptiness because I'm not acting,
right,
and because I'm not getting work from acting. And I'm like, I'm sure a lot of huge celebrities feel this way too.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm really struggling with, because I'm like, is this how I'm going to feel for the rest of my life? Like, is my happiness dependent on the work that I get? Because I think it genuinely is right now. I think it's also dependent on the work that I create, but we're not currently in the middle of a project.
Right.
So I feel this sort of like just sadness, like constant.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think that's something that we're going to learn how to balance, and then we're going to learn how to be making enough stuff where we are feeling fulfilled, where we're seeing, like a return, not in terms of like money necessarily, but in terms of like,
no, but I want a return
value.
of money. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
No, of
like,
course,
I want
of course.
financial stability from the work I do.
I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying like, in the way that like your single form of success is not contingent on money. It's like a project, for instance, right? So I think it's like, finding a balance between what. Oh my God, she's looking at me so intensely right now, so directly. Did you see me in your dream?
She just stuck her tongue out at you.
I saw that. She made me lose my train of thought.
She distracted you.
Yeah, she did. She distracted me.
Oh.
Her eyes are rolled back into her head.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, I think that
it definitely feels like a low period.
You feel better now.
But I know that everyone feels that way.
Yeah, of course. And you feel better now than you did 2 years ago.
Yeah, I do.
You do.
It's a very slow rise, though.
It's a slow rise, but it's, it's a process of building anything. Because you're going to see that, and then whatever it grows to, you're going to see what that is. Part of the confusion and part of the thing that's so upsetting is you don't know what that's going to look like exactly.
Yeah.
But that'll only be clear. So my thoughts are, I'm sorry, Lil Tunechi, but I hope you get brought on, because I think you are a good guy. You seem like a happy guy.
But don't be friends with a pedophile.
I'm not trying to get in any
I'm
beef
sorry.
right now.
I judge people based on who they're friends with.
That's fair. I don't think they're good for. I think they're like, I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. I could have, like, everything I said just now could have been wrong. I have no idea.
Whatever. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a huge fan of Mia Goth, and she's like married to Shia LaBeouf. So you can't. Sometimes you can't account for people being problematic, because when you really look deep down at Hollywood, as K-Dot said, everyone's a pedophile.
Right.
So take that as you will. Like, we had some really high highs in this podcast. We had some really low lows. And overall, I'm feeling pretty okay now, which is better than I was feeling before the pod.
Nice.
Yeah. I hope you guys are doing well out there.
Yep.
Feel free to comment, say hello, say how you're doing.
Yep.
I don't know if any of you are in the entertainment industry, but if you are, let us know how it's going for you.
How's it going for you? How do you feel about Tunechi or Kendrick? And yeah.
Yeah. FIFA fo fun, bitches, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. You. Oh, sorry.